Earlier this year, KTM released their new off-road bikes, like they do every single year. Once again, the Austrian-Indian company promised that all the bikes were redesigned and completely new. Is this really the case? And how about the new 150 TPI 2-stroke model, which they also introduced? That's what we are going to find out in today's video. The most significant change in these 2020 bikes is the new and more rigid frame. It's stiffer than the previous models. In theory, this will make the bike more stable in high-speed straights and bumps, but it could also affect turning negatively, because the frame doesn't flex that much. I'm riding the 2017 model and I really have liked the flexibility of the frame, because the bike turns really well. Also, the bikes have an upgraded subframe, which is 40 mm longer than in the old ones, to support the new rear plastic and taillight. This year, the engine have been modified in every model. On the big 4-strokes, the engine outputs even more power, and the center of gravity has been lowered by machining the cylinder head even lighter. This precise weight reduction and moving the center of gravity lower will give you more grip on the trails. Also, this year there's no option to retrofit a kickstart to 4-stroke because the whole mechanism got removed. On the 2-stroke TPI engines there's a new air pressure sensor which adapts to ambient air pressure and provides the ECU even more accurate information on how to mix the oil and fuel. The 250 and 300 2-stroke engine has been tilted 1 degree towards the front wheel to get you more grip on the front end. Also, the whole exhaust system is redesigned and the head pipe has this visible 3D structure which should make it harder against impacts. The silencer design is new, but I didn't hear any change on the sound of these bikes. One bizarre thing is that they have removed the kickstart from the 2-strokes as well. I know the battery technology is getting better, but one day you are going to miss that kickstart so much. On the front suspension there's a new mid-valve piston, and the front fork has a new set of caps where you will find the clicker knobs. Nothing crazy has happened in the suspension compartment, but at least they look new. The bodywork of the bikes has seen some other changes as well, with the new redesigned fuel tanks, seat and radiators that are 20 mm lower. There was a mention that the new radiator design is better in cooling, but they have also fitted fans both to 450 and 500 4-strokes as a standard, so maybe it's not powerful enough to keep those big boys running cool in the end. As every year, there's a new set of graphics in all of these bikes. What do you guys think of the new look? Please write your thoughts below, because I don't like that much about this modern look. I still find the 2016 Slovakia 6 Days to be the most badass looking KTM bike designed yet. So how do these bikes feel then? We had the 150, 250 and 300 2-strokes and the 250, 450 and 500 4-strokes. So the 250 2-stroke felt much better than it used to be. There was more torque than before and the engine felt more like the 300. That was a big surprise to the previous years. With the new, more narrow subframe and overall lighter feel, I really like the 250 over the 300. The 300 has more power overall, but it also feels heavier, which eats your energy out much faster. The new 150 TPI was a big surprise for me. I honestly haven't had the time to pay attention to what KTM is releasing every year because I am not looking for a new bike. So I didn't even know they released this model before I heard we are going to test it. It's a really great bike for people who want to learn to ride off-road bikes. It's not so easy at first and it will teach you a lot about braking, gear shifts and weighting the bike properly. The TPI engine is running crisp always and it just pushes you forward towards the next corner or obstacle. It feels like a mountain bike with a powerful 2-stroke engine. So it packs a lot of fun in this small, tiny package. What I didn't like about the two-stroke is the overall feel of grip with these Maxxis stock tires. I don't know any single rider that has said something positive from these tires, and they don't work in this kind of terrain. In every corner you have the feel of the front end washing out or not doing or acting like you want it. With the four-stroke you don't get this issue, so it has to have something to do with the weight distribution, suspension and surface pressure of the tire. One other thing was the two-stroke oil container cap that isn't in par with the quality feel of the bike. This wobbly and cheap looking cap that you can't miss when you're sitting on the bike just doesn't seal the container properly, and if your bike sometimes goes upside down you could be leaking oil all over the place. The four-stroke models were a much better experience overall. The grip was so much better and the overall feel when riding the bike was confident. The engines is as good as it has been for a couple of years, and there's definitely no lack of power in any single model. The 250 four-stroke was once again my favorite. It's maybe because I can't ride the other models. With the light feel, powerful and fun engine, this is a great bike to ride. And with the slightly redesigned fuel tank and slimmer subframe, that made it even better than before. The suspension in all of these four-stroke bikes felt stiffer and worked way better than in the two-stroke models, and it even made the awful Maxxis tires feel much better. Of course, I can't say that much about the suspension with only 2 hours of testing, but it has a great potential for people who want to build their own suspension to suit their riding style. One thing that I noticed was that the 450 was much harder to ride than the 500 because of the more aggressive power output. You need to have great stamina and you need to ride a lot to handle this power and this bike. I have been riding around once a week, maybe a little less, for the last couple of years, so the arm bump hit me up pretty fast. 500 was a hefty bike to handle in tight places, but the engine acts so nice to the rider. The fatigue hits you up kinda fast, but it's much lower than with the 450. After riding a while with both of these big four-stroke, you definitely feel the power in your bike. So, who are the riders these bikes are meant to? If you are new to Enduro, I would choose the 150 TPI or 250 four-stroke. If you are riding wide open tracks, gravel roads or want to have a spin through the city every now and then my choice would be the 500. The 450 is great for riders with a motocross background that want to go to the woods maybe once a year to remind themselves how much safer it is to be riding on a motocross track without any rocks or trees on the way. The two-stroke 250 and 300 are meant for the true hardcore piston heads that like to challenge themselves in the middle of nowhere in hard and challenging tracks. We discussed with Antti and Juha that the 350 is the optimal bike from the four-stroke line. It works well in both in the tight single tracks as well as in wide open or motocross track. Too bad we didn't have the time to test the 350 this time. These bikes are a solid option for anyone that wants to do the sport with quality equipment and with an ease of mind while keeping them in good shape. I can't say that these are the best bikes for Enduro because I don't have the experience from all the other brands out in the market, but these KTMs work really well in the hobby riding and racing that I do. Unfortunately, they come with a price tag that isn't small. There are cheaper options with almost the same quality. If you look, for example, to Beta, they are much cheaper to buy. Riders usually think that getting a new expensive bike would solve something in their riding, that they would be faster on a fresh bike or their riding would magically get better. I'm sorry to say, but that's rarely the case. But I won't go any deeper on this matter because buying a second-hand bike instead of a new one would be a whole nother video. Thank you KTM, thank you Motogators, and huge thanks to StuntFreaksTeam for inviting me to test these bikes. I'll catch you guys again next time. Bye.